Joining us now is OjyOkpe with stories trending around the world. Hello, Oji. We're missing Dr. Bati.
Are we not? How are you this morning?
Yeah.
Are you sure you're fine? Well, it's Christmas season. We have some Christmas packages and we have a Christmas tree right there. Really? I didn't even notice that tree. It was there yesterday. Yes, Merry Christmas to everybody. Christmas. How many more days to Christmas?
Today is the 21st, so 4 days to Christmas.
We have goodies even from the federal government ahead of the Christmas season. Well, let's begin what's trending. Hold on now. Well, let's begin what's trending. With reactions trailing President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's approval of a 50% discount for interstate road travel and train travel at zero cost for all Nigerians traveling to celebrate Christmas with their families. The Minister of Solid Minerals, Dele Alake, disclosed the development on Wednesday. While briefing State House correspondents, he said the discount will run from December 21st to January 4th, 2024.
Nigerians willing to travel can board public transport via minibuses, luxury buses at 50% discount of current cost, and all our train services on the routes the trains currently serve at zero cost to and fro on their travels this holiday season. The President's initiative is to give succor to the masses. And if we are to be true to ourselves, the masses don't take air travel. They go by land. In fact, this is amongst us. If you had not eaten once or twice, not to talk of thrice a day, you can't think of going to buy air tickets. So it is only the real masses, the poor, that patronize land transportation, especially rail, because it's the cheapest. We had taken care of all the contentious issues before we decided to now come and publicize. So there is going to be a seamless execution.
All right, Dele Alake here is saying that there is going to be a seamless execution, but of course there are reactions. The Nigerian Labour Congress has dismissed the federal government's pronouncement of bus fare reduction, doubting its implementability. The National Union of Road Transport Workers, through its acting national secretary, Sulaiman Musa, has also said that the union is skeptical about the mode of the policy implementation. He questioned if the government will be sending their representatives to loading points in order to implement the policy. But you know, Bayo Ononuga, I believe that you have seen his tweet. He wrote yesterday, talked about the participating companies in the federal government's plan to reduce the transport burden of traveling 5 million Nigerians. So there's a figure there, 5 million Nigerians. 1, GIG, God is good. 2, Chisco Transport. 3, Young Shall Grow. 4, God Bless Ezenwata. 5, Area Moto. The available routes are there as well on Bayo Ononuga's tweet. I'll have that later on, but let me just take more reactions. This is from Brother Bath, who wrote, "Dear Nigeria federal government, how do you wake up on December 20th and announce that you'll be giving 50% discount to all interstate travelers in Nigeria during the Yuletide? What plans do you have in place to do this? 1, do you have data on the estimated number of travelers? 2, what is your budget for this? 3, where do you get money to fund this? 4, how do you ensure the targeted beneficiaries actually get this discount? 5, how do you pay private transporters? 6, do you station federal government officials at all transporters' loading parks to offset these bills as people board, or you plan to pay them later with evidence of number of passengers transported? 7, with many illegal immigrants, which I think is very important in Nigeria, how do you identify Nigerians, bearing in mind that there are Nigerians without recognized ID cards, driver's license, voters cards, NIN, international passport, etc.? 8, have you informed Nigerians on how they can access this discount, or would they be at the mercy of the transporters and transport unions when they get to parks to board? 9, how do you intend to audit this exercise? 10, I personally think that this is a very poor initiative and will most likely be poorly implemented. It may end up being a door to corruption, stealing of money by the implementers. 11. If government thought about this earlier, there would have been better ways to achieve this, including the use of faith-based organizations, community-based organizations, etc., that have been giving similar support to Nigerians year after year. 12. I think the government should cancel this initiative and invest the money in other areas that will benefit Nigerians. Well, Brother Bath, the policy has been implemented. It is going full on. I mean, I think that he will be my Twitter analyst because it feels like he's our Twitter analyst at this point. But he has a lot of points there which he made about even identification and even, you know, even reiterating the NURT, saying that how are you going to implement the process? But I also think that the train process, which is free of charge, should also be questioned because Bayo Onanuga has said 5 million Nigerians. How do they get that data? Where is that money coming from? Where is the audit for this? Are Nigerians going to see that process? It's a great, great Christmas gift. No doubt. I mean, a lot of Nigerians would love to go via train transport for free, but we also need to know, when did they think about this? And where is that money going to come from? Is that part of the palliative process that they had been talking about before?
I mean, many endless questions.
Yeah.
But, and I like some of the questions raised. Like other things, if we don't effectively plan, you don't get it all. So like I said before, it's not a new idea. Ralph Aregbesola pretty much started it in 2011 as regards the train run, I know. This 50% off a bus, it's a good question he asks. How much is the total cost? What is it going to be the cost to us? You remember how we still had to mill around for the cost of evacuation of people from Sudan? How much is the total cost? What I would have thought that they should have also done is this. Before you started this scheme, set up a portal, a website, where people can register for being part of the 5 million people. You can track their data. When you track their data, get them a code that they take to either the bus station or, you know, other parts to be able to utilize the service. So at least we can have a back end of people that use the service. Yes, some of the bus companies, I saw something from God is Good most of this morning showing somebody that participated in the free bus. I've also seen people that participated in the 50% off bus. But secondly, the logistics, you know, behind it is another thing.
By the way, the train you have to register online.
You
can't go to the train station to get the ticket.
So
you have to register online.
I like the registration online, but how about the buses too? We need to be able to track all of this, you know, and track the data set. And I'd like to also ask the government, is this not where the so-called CNG buses they bought should have been used? I would have loved that the CNG buses they were touting will be used to carry these people from point to point.
Excellent point.
The government said they're investing in buses. Yes. So why don't you just turn the CNG? Point. And also, why do you make it just 5 lines? Specific, you know, bus companies. Because the truth is, you are favoring some, you're not favoring some. So take, for instance, on the Lagos-Benin route, there are other pre-existing lines. The likes of, so if you say a certain line, what about the likes of the Medegbe, Ohamba, and a couple of other lines like that?
Very popular on this route, yeah.
And they're very popular on this route.
Well, if we can pull up the route, there are about 28 road transport routes.
And some other parts of the country, like in the north and all of that. So why don't you make it this way? But I would have thought that this is the time that we see the CNG buses. And I would have also thought that if they are not said in public, except if they are going to increase the number of bus companies and all of that. And how many bus, what is it called, go to these parks? How many transporters? There are some transporters that if you go to this park, their money is already expensive in the first place, that they like to go to an open park, you know, the Ewole Esidan, Ejoko Esidan Park, you know, to still get to their destination. Not everyone uses these registered transport companies. So there are many factors that are going to play out in all of this. It's the thinking. And also, ample promotion. Could it have been promoted a lot better prior to this time?
How
did
would
you
they know?
sensitize us that this was coming and all of that? So there are many questions, but we'd like to know the cost. And I think we can just start by pretty much writing FOI,
triggering
FOI to know how much this scheme for 5 million Nigerians and bus fares and everything, what cost is it going to bring? Because we know Nigeria.
So I want to just find out if the 5 million is just for the buses or is also for the train as well. Because I pulled up that route, there are about 28 of them, Lagos, Abuja, and all of that. And then for the train, this day is reporting that it favors the Lagos, Ibadan, Abuja, Kaduna, Warri, Itakpe rail corridors. So that will help out. I mean, the poorest of the poor, they use the train. So hopefully, but we just need to know the data and how much money is going into this whole process.
Yeah, absolutely. So can I just say something? Yeah, so it actually starts today. And so that question around sensitization is very important because it was announced yesterday and it's effective from today. And it might have helped a lot of people plan to travel or plan their travel if they knew the government was coming out with an initiative like that. Even though the president had released a statement following the meeting with the Proprietors Association of Nigeria, Newspaper Proprietors Association of Nigeria, saying that they were going to intervene, which is in tandem with what Mr. Dele Alake said, that this had been in the works and they dotted their I's and crossed their T's. However, an investigation by the Punch newspaper states that some of the road transport operators in areas like Owerri said they were not yet aware, they hadn't been informed. So actually, there's still some areas that hadn't been fine-tuned. And then the questions that had been asked in terms of tracking, in other parts of the world, I had mentioned this off air earlier, that, for instance, in the UK, older people get subsidized or free transportation, younger people, students do. But this is through a process, and that goes to answer the question by Brother Bath as to how do you ascertain that the people who are benefiting are Nigerians if you don't have data of the people who are accessing this? We don't want to spend government money, Nigerian money, to serve others. I mean, it's good, we want to be charitable, but the truth is that we must, when it comes to planning, and this is the importance of planning, I don't want to put a blight on a good initiative or a good suggestion, but I also want to raise the concerns of the TUC as postulated by the Deputy National Chairman, saying that the government seems not to be responding to the core needs of Nigerians, saying that there are poor people in Nigeria. If they get free transportation to travel, what would they eat? You haven't addressed the issue of poverty from the moment this government came into power, and it is what they've been pushing, not just knee-jerk reactions, in quotes, to certain specific issues, but to empower the people, to take people out of poverty, to help people have a better Christmas. If you address transportation concerns, well, how about food inflation? How much money people are spending on food? Can they afford to eat? Which Mr. Alake himself alluded to about people eating once or twice a day. So, I mean, those are key concerns from people, but I hope people will enjoy this 50% off and enjoy a good Christmas on behalf of this government.
Absolutely. Maybe they should also give 50% off on chicken, or rice, or the other little
the state governments can do more. Before we move on to our next story, let's highlight Rivers State Governor Sim Fubara, who on Tuesday approved the sum of 100,000 Naira for each civil servant in the state ahead of the Christmas celebrations. The bonus will go to thousands of workers in the different ministries, departments, and agencies. Well, according to the State Commissioner for Information and Communication, it will be the first time in a long while that civil servants in the state will be receiving Christmas bonuses, let alone to the tune of 100,000 Naira, which is more than 3 times the value of the nation's minimum wage. I mean, this is kudos to the governor who has been in the limelight for over a week. I mean, this is one good thing he's done for the people of his state. Kudos to him. Well, more on palliatives. The Center for Justice on Religious and Ethnicity in Nigeria has accused the Borno State Governor, Professor Babagana Zulum, of deliberately excluding Christians in the state from benefiting from the federal government's palliative giving to residents of the state. The group's Director General, Reverend Kalamu Dikwa, also alleged that Christians in the state are always excluded from any palliatives and assistance brought to the state, including the 3 billion Naira given to them by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu last week to help those whose family members were killed by Boko Haram insurgents and other terrorists in the state. Reverend Dikwa also added that the Christian community in Goza local government area in the state that are in IDP camps are still there unlike the Muslims who have been returned to their communities. The Reverend called on the Christian Association of Nigeria and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to look into the matter, sending a warning that any breach of peace in Borno State will be the handwork of the governor. I mean, Ayo, Rufai, you know I always praise Professor Babagana Zulum for all his efforts, everything he's been doing. I mean, just last week we talked about his initiative of, electric taxis and CNG buses that he had when President Tinubu visited him. But this is a very, very strong allegation. Yesterday, we just, highlighted the Kaduna State governor who was preaching unity in his state. And we are hearing this story from, a reverend father and, calling on the Christian Association of Nigeria to look into this matter, which is a very serious matter if this is happening in his state. We even highlighted him yesterday about the elephant that was killed.
And asked him to investigate that as well, yes. I think this will be really sad because, like you mentioned, if there's one governor that's come under praise or has been praised a number of times, especially with the way he's responded or been able to tackle insurgency in Borno State and helped the people recover from what had happened in the country, in the state with regards to insurgency, he's been praised. He's done a lot. In fact, when I went to Borno State, he's actually really popular with the people, and they love him. They say he's done really well. Borno, Maiduguri was returning to its old glory, at least to a very large extent. They say the place was safer, and they gave kudos to the governor largely. So it will be quite sad to imagine that this is happening. The very fragile state of the state is in question here, and it is important that governors, and that's why it was good to highlight what Governor Ubasani was doing in Kaduna State, that they'd suffered too much. Borno State has suffered too much. Let us not bring religious division and feelings of discrimination and discontent that could then brew something different from what insurgency had done in that state. So I do hope that it is an error and that the governor would investigate this and make right and do right by Christians living in Borno State. But I'm glad that they also spoke up, because what is good for the Muslims in the state is good for the Christians. There shouldn't be any kind of division. So I'm hoping that we will get a response. After this report, the government officials haven't responded yet, so I'm hoping they will respond, and most importantly, that they will take action to correct this misnomer.
Absolutely. We're waiting to hear from Professor Babagana Zulum again. We'll take another story. As the Yuletide season draws near, the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control early this week intercepted counterfeiters involved in the production of a variety of beverages, including wines, spirits, non-alcoholic drinks, and other consumables in Abia State. NAFDAC, in collaboration with other security agencies, carried out the sting operation in Ezuku Market in Aba, where the illegal activity, which is said to have been going on for a long time, was taking place. The cartel had threatened anyone who dared to challenge them. The group were also involved in revalidating expired products like milk, ketchup, and yogurt, which are then sold for consumption. Over 240 shops in the market were turned into factories for production of the harmful products. Rufai, I mean, this is complete. I mean, what would I do? A round of applause to NAFDAC for this. It was a tip-off. It was a tip-off, and they were able to go in there. Can you imagine how long they've been doing this? Can you imagine the amount of people that have been affected in this? But before you take your comment, though, in the same vein, the Lagos State Police Command intercepted an illegal factory producing fake drinks around the Ojo area of the state. The police public relations officer of the state, Benjamin Hudain, disclosed this in a post on X on Wednesday, stating that the operatives of Ojo divisions were able to arrest 2 suspects in connection to the criminal act. We are seeing in Lagos, we are seeing in Aba. What is this attributed to?
I mean, it's sad. It's just attributed to criminality and crime. Don't call it poverty. When people are bad, they are bad. They are terrible, they are terrible. They are worse, they are worse. But it's not today we've had this. Today I would like to pay glowing tribute to Dora Akuyele,
yes,
of blessed memory. This was her life work.
Yes.
Where she fought tooth and nail as regards the fake drug manufacturers. And she almost paid for it with her life. And these people you see, they have a lot of capital, they're highly connected. Just imagine how much you've been selling to the market. Just imagine how much you and I might have consumed that we don't even know.
Yes.
Because it's not only them. There are clubs that have been called out in Lagos that sell fake drinks. Yeah. People are saying, okay, you go to a club, you pay an exorbitant amount, and the drink they give you is fake. Some clubs, not all the clubs. But there are some clubs that they even know that they are buying fake drinks just because they want to cut costs. So it is a holistic system. Kudos to the Nigerian police force. When they do well, we say they've done well.
Done well.
Kudos to NAFDAC.
Yeah.
But we must not rest. We must ensure. And people that buy these things from them in the ecosystem, because there's an ecosystem, you'll be surprised in the marketplace. There are marketers too that once they get this invitation, they sell to them, so they know they get at a cheaper rate. And you know you are selling fake products. God will judge you.
Yeah.
Because it is bad, because these are the products that people, take to their detriment. Recently I've just been watching past interviews, especially one on television back in the days when Dora Akinyuli broke down, that she said that IV, that there was almost nothing in it. The solution was nothing. That sometimes they will give people, drug that make them sleep in the hospital is being counterfeited. You remember the case of, painkillers that has chalk. It's just chalk that they carved. And people are taking these things and dying. And you are seeing people perpetrating acts like that.
Yeah.
We want them to constantly go after them. Also, possible solution.
Yeah.
So there is a firm, Sproxil, that started something very innovative in the fight against fake drug. What they did was, for every of their products, they have a little barcode strip that you can strip, clean it up, take the code in there, send to a certain number, they confirm if the product is fake or original.
Yes.
Maybe most manufacturers should start doing that to their products.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some have started.
So that you can clean it up. When you clean up the code, you buy the product, you scan the code and check before you consume that product.
You know what I love that you said? The amount of intelligence that goes into this type of production. I mean, why can't they use that intelligence for other things?
They want to be
farming.
terrible.
There's so much things. You can do so many things than kill people because you are endangering people's lives. It's completely unacceptable. I hope that they get the punishment that they deserve, these people that have been perpetrating this crime. We'll take our final story by beaming the searchlight on Precious Eze, a Lagos-based blogger who has been missing for over a week. Eze was allegedly taken by unidentified persons from his home in Bagada area of Lagos State last week, Tuesday. Since then, there's been no communication from him, and no security agency has publicly admitted to arresting him. Eze is reported to be hypertensive and on high blood pressure medication. His friends and family are worried that his underlying health condition may deteriorate if he is not found in time. Former Vice President of Nigeria and the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, has taken to social media to call on the federal government to do more to rescue the blogger. Well, let's take his tweet. I mean, there's been a lot of conversation about where this blogger is, and they're saying that it's probably security agencies. But Atiku wrote, only yesterday, this administration assured that it will always uphold press freedom and respect public opinions. But those words are hollow and do not match with the actions of the state agencies. Just last week, Precious Eze was abducted by security agents in his Bagada home in Lagos. There was no word to explain his whereabouts and why he was being detained until Nigerians started to raise an alert about the plight of Precious. Notwithstanding what the young man may have done, the agencies of the state must let his friends, family, and indeed Nigerians know about his whereabouts. This aligns with the spirit of democracy, freedom of speech, and respect for journalists to do their jobs of holding government to account without jackboot intimidation. I mean, kudos to Atiku Abubakar for raising that awareness as well, and I would like to use this platform also to raise the awareness. I have put a call through to the PPRO in Abuja. For 2 days now, I have not gotten a response. I did send, this request to see if they have him, and nothing has been said about it. Also, I'm hearing that he may have been transferred to Enugu, and, we don't know where it is, but it is our right. We need to know where he is. I mean, the security agencies, if they have him, they have to let us know where he is at this point.
Absolutely, I do agree with you. I mean, what's the difference between this and kidnapping that we condemn, which is a criminal act? If you come and abduct someone from his home, no charge has been brought up against him, nothing. So thank you so much, and we're raising this and putting this out there. We hope that we will get a response from the Abuja PPRO and security agencies as to the whereabouts of Precious Eze.
Absolutely. Well, we need Precious back at this point. I'd like to thank you both for your great analysis, as always, on What's Trending. Well, that's all I have for you on What's Trending today. I'll see you all tomorrow.